guys. Today we're going to be talking about doorbells. There's 4 reasons why your doorbell might not work, and we're going to go over all 4 of those reasons. They're really simple fixes and just about anybody can do. So we're going to go over those today, and if your doorbell's not working, we're going to help you out with that. So let's get started. Okay guys, we got a typical setup of our doorbells here so you kind of understand, kind of laid it out to where you can kind of see how your doorbell exactly works. And so we're going to go over the 4 main components of it, and then we're going to go back and talk about some troubleshooting. So here's our doorbell. We got the front door and the back door bell, and then this is our transformer right here. This is what supplies power to our doorbell. I'll show you the inner works of the doorbell there. But you can see what goes on when we ring the doorbell. Right here is that it's got little plungers here. This little plunger goes down and hits the bottom, and that's your back doorbell. This one hits top and bottom. Kind of watch them work there. Then you'll see our back door button there. Just only gives you 1 click so you can distinguish who's at the front door or the back door. So, and that's just our chime there, and then we've got our front doorbell button, back door, and then our transformer over here. So, give you an idea what goes on here. You got your transformer, plugs into your power source here, and it transfers your AC power, which is 110 volts, 120 volts, down to 16 volts on this particular transformer here. Some of them are a little less, some of them are a little more. So if you do ever change your chime out, then you may have to change your transformer out to match it. A lot of your new Ring doorbell systems, it shows you who's at the front door. And when you got motion at your front door, some of those use a little more powerful transformer. So if you're changing over to those and it doesn't work, check and see if your transformer matches. And right here on the front of it, it'll show you, this one says 16 volts. And we're going to show you about testing that in just a minute. But it just supplies power one side, and I've left these wires separate. Typically they'll be in a twisted pair like this with your red and white wires there. So I've separated them just to kind of give you a better understanding. But this one side of your transformer wire runs over here, runs down, and runs to your doorbell, and this is marked transformer right here, so you know which wire that goes on. So then the other side of your wires feed down to your doorbell buttons. Just like this one's going to the front door, this is going to the back door. Then you've got your white wire from each one. This one goes back, and this is marked front door, marked back door right here, so you can kind of see how they work. Now I've set this up to where you can tell that each one of them get power from transformer. You could take a short piece of wire and go from this one to this one like this without running a wire like that, but this would be a long ways. This would be from your front door to your back door. So just kind of give you an idea that we could have done this on this board, but both of them come off with basically the same side of the transformer. Each one runs their white wire individually back to the one labeled there. So when you push this button, you get the 2 tones. Push the back door button, you get the single tone. Now let's start troubleshooting. The first place you want to troubleshoot if your doorbell's not working is to check and see if you've got a broken wire on your buttons. If your back door works and your front door doesn't, or your front door works and back door doesn't, most of the time it's going to be in the button or either a broken wire somewhere. So take your button off, check. These are lighted buttons. Not all of them are lit. Some of them are a little different. Some of them are different shaped. They got different styles. Some of them are a decorative, like this one right here. It's just a little fancier one, you know, but basically they all the same. They got 2 lugs on the back. So the first thing you want to check, make sure you don't have a broken wire. Now, something you can do is you can take a pair of pliers and jump. Let me see if he's open up enough. Jump from one lug to the other one, or you can take a little piece of wire or anything and just go from this one to that one. And if that works, makes your doorbell work, and then and both your wires are connected, and you know it's a button, so all you have to replace is that button, and that'll solve it. Same way, either button, front or back, and that's how you troubleshoot your buttons. Now, your bell, you want to check, make sure these are always free. These are, of course, being low voltage, they tend over a period of time to get corroded and seize up in there. Don't oil them, because that just make them worse. If they're corroded, not working, then you may need to just change out your doorbell chime. So that's the two ways to check those. The other things you can check, make sure you got power here. With a little voltmeter. And this is AC voltage, even though it's low voltage. These are AC voltage, so we want to set our meter. Let's see if we get it in there. We set our meter to AC, the lowest setting on AC, and we're going to check it. It should be over 16 volts. Now, most of the time they're going to be higher than that because the transformer's got a certain range to it. But just put one end on your transformer, and then another one on your wire, and when you push your button, you should get your voltage reading there. So that's a little higher. So now, if you got voltage there, or don't have voltage there, you can come over and check your transformer, and your transformer should have power to it. Just take our leads, put one on one side, one on the other, and you should get the voltage. You see right there, reading it there, it's a bit higher. So, but that's the range it's in. So you should always have voltage coming out of there. If you don't get any voltage here, check your power source. Make sure your breaker hadn't tripped, check that. And then if you got power going in, and it's typically going to be mounted on a little box here. There's a lot of different locations for these things. Sometimes it's kind of hard to find them. Some of them are mounted in, if you got a crawl space, mine is mounted in my crawl space. Some of them are mounted in the attics. If it's an old house, it may be covered up with insulation in your attic. And then the newer areas, I know in our area they're required to be mounted in a real accessible locations. A lot of them are mounted in utility rooms, garages, somewhere visible. You may see it just sticking out of the wall, just a little plate behind it. So even some areas I've seen on videos where they were actually mounted in a box behind the doorbell chime, which makes more sense to me. You wouldn't have to run your wires far. So, but any of those locations, attic, the crawl space, a closet or a utility room, where you look for those. And these are low voltage, because they're not going to shock you unless you maybe wet your finger, stuck your tongue to it. Yeah, it might shock you. So, but they're just low enough they're not going to hurt you here. Now, when you take this off and to your main power supply, those wires in there are 110, 120 coming off of your house, so they will shock you. So if you're not comfortable with electricity, check those. Make sure that it's not hot before you go to replace that. You can buy any one of these parts separate. This is a kit. This is kind of a standard contractor bell that you'll see in most houses, spec houses. Comes with your doorbell chime, your transformer, and your two buttons, all together. It's about $25, so they're not that expensive. Now, if you don't have a doorbell and you want to add one and you don't want to go to the trouble of running all these wires, they make a wireless doorbell system. Your chime it'll have a plug on the back of it. You just plug it into your regular wall outlet. Then your button, outside button, will have a little battery in it that makes it work and send a signal to the chime, and you just mount it on the wall outside. A lot of them got a peel and stick thing to it, which sometimes don't tend to stick too good, and they also have screws where you can mount them with the screws, so that works really well. Like I say, it's an alternative to running wires, so that'll give you a bail there, you know. So, but typically they come with just one button, you know. So if you want the front and the back doorbell, you may have to, you know, do two different chimes, and a lot of those have different chime settings on, so you could have two different ones and set them to different, you know, make a different tone. So, so I hope that helps. This is a simple, you know, like I say, just a simple little project. Would make a good science project, you know, for someone, students in school, you know, if they want to do a little science project. It's simple, easy to hook up. For our power cord, we just used a regular 110, outlet plug, just plugged it into the wall. So it would make a really good science project. So I hope that helps. Like I say, you got 4 components. You got, once again, you've got the transformer, the chime, and your buttons, and then your wiring. Now, if you got power here, you don't have power over to your chime or to your buttons, and all your wires are, you know, are secure, then if you had any kind of construction going on anywhere, or if you got mice, anything, you know, problem like that, you may have a broken wire somewhere between there and your chime. So that, you know, that would be your other troubleshooting, which would be the hardest thing to fix, because, you know, a lot of times these wires run a long ways, you know, depending on where they mount the transformer. So, you know, alternative to that would be just change over to a wireless system. So hope that helps. There's a lot of different doorbell chimes. There's some that you can change and play all kinds of different tunes. You can play Happy Birthday or We Wish You a Merry Christmas. Those are digital systems. So another thing, if you change over to a digital system, a lot of times they'll have what's called a diode on the back of it, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a minute. It keeps power from backing up, because the digital ones always have power on them. So I'll show you that in just a few minutes, but just hang on and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay guys, I thought I had a picture of I thought I had a real diode, but I was going to show you the picture. I hope you can see this. This is what your diode is going to look like. It's going to have 2 leads, one coming off each end. It's going to be dark colored. It's going to have a little gray end to it. And this gray end is your directional thing, and it would go on your wire coming from your transformer to make sure that the power didn't back up into the system, because of the way digital stuff works. But it'll be just like that, 2 little short wires, and then it'll look something, you know, something kind of like this. This is a little different kind, but hold on to it. Just a little small, very small piece with 2 wires on the end, and you just hook one end of the wire to one end of your one logo on your button, and just hook it right to the other end. So it's pretty simple, but watch for it, especially if you do, like say, do a Ring doorbell system. They have them because they're digital. So so that concludes that. I hope that helps. But it's just a simple setup. Wires going one way and another. Typically, like I say, they're going to be twisted wires, and it might not necessarily be a white wire here. Sometimes, because they're twisted, if they run a set, they may run the red wire there. So, but that so don't let that fool you. Okay, guys, that concludes this video. Hope you enjoyed it. And hope you'll join us back on Let's Get To It, Home Tips and Tricks. If you hadn't already subscribed to the channel, please do so. It's free, and you'll get all of our other, if you'll hit the notification bell, you'll get all of our other videos. We've got about 18 or 20 videos on now, so on all things around the house, so check them out. Hit that like button, and like I say, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time.